All right, how's everybody doing? Hotep. Hey, this is Michael Imhotep, founder of the African History Network, host of the African History Network show. I'm a talk show host, researcher, lecturer, and writer. It is Sunday, August 26, 2018, and we are live. So everybody share this broadcast on your Facebook page. Invite your friends to tune in also. All right. So I wanted to talk about this story that I saw at blackenterprise.com. And then also I saw this story at news1.com. And this deals with the Congressional Black Caucus uniting with the National Urban League to create the Jobs and Justice Tour, the Jobs and Justice Tour 2018 to empower the African American community. Okay. All right. So, and then also we'll talk about how you can advertise with the African History Network as well. So, African American business owners, post the name of your business here on the thread of the broadcast as well. Okay. All right. So this is a really good story. Now, it started out in Detroit this past week, and I didn't even know about it. I just found out about this a couple of days ago. Actually, yesterday, August 20, early this morning, I found out about it. Late last night, early this morning, I found out about this. But the National Urban League, in cooperation with the Congressional Black Caucus, the CBC, they are uniting for the Jobs and Justice Tour 2018. Now, this tour started in Detroit. It's a multi-city tour. It started in Detroit on this past Thursday, which was, I think, the 23rd, August 23rd, to promote economic stability and growth in urban communities around the country. Okay, and this is something very important. The Jobs and Justice Tour kicked off in Detroit, Michigan. It promises to empower African Americans with knowledge, tools, and resources to increase upward mobility and ensure equal protection under the law through a series of town hall discussions. Okay. And I remember a few years ago, back during the recession, I remember the CBC did a multi-city tour, which was a job fair. And it was a job fair. They had workshops, things like this to help African Americans gain employment. Now, with this initiative here, it doesn't appear that there is a job fair associated with it. However, that may be something coming. It would be good if they did that. But what they are doing is important and needed as well. Okay, we're going to continue here. And share this broadcast on your Facebook page. Okay, invite your friends to tune in. And be sure to listen to the African History Network show Sundays, 9 p.m. to 11 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on 9:10 a.m. the Superstation. WFDF in Detroit. We'll be on live tonight. We'll be on Facebook Live also, broadcasting from the radio station studio as well. All right, and let me share this on my personal page. Okay, it's not letting me do that. All right, let's continue here. Okay, so this is the Jobs and Justice Tour 2018. It started in Detroit. I did not know it. I did not hear anything about this. So during the tour, the National Urban League and its local affiliates will lead the discussions with Congressional Black Caucus members about policies to advance a Black prosperity. The town hall discussions will also focus on how African Americans can use their voice and their vote to change their communities and the nation at large, to use our voice and our vote to change the communities and the nation at large. And that's extremely important because a lot of these people who we call on the radio shows every day complaining about, we need to vote them out of office. But we also need to leverage our dollars to enforce our political agenda as well, okay? All right. And let me post this here. You can email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. for more information about advertising with the African History Network. Okay, so the town hall discussions will also focus on how African Americans can use their voice and vote to change their communities and the nation at large, all right? And politics is the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, the legal distribution of scarce wealth, power, and resources, and the writing of laws, statutes, ordinances, amendments, and treaties, their adoption, interpretation, and enforcement, okay? So politics impacts every aspect of our lives, okay, whether you realize it or not. Politics impacts every aspect of our lives. All right, and let me try to turn this off here. Well, let me turn it off. Okay, new conversation. All right, just a second here. All right. All right, let's continue here. So Mark Morial, who's the president and CEO of the National Urban League, he said that urban communities and infrastructure have been shattered not by bombs and tanks, but by malfeasance and indifference, okay? He said it is past time for our government to demonstrate the very same commitment to our own struggling urban families and communities that was shown when Europe needed rebuilding after World War II, Afghanistan following the War on Terror, and Wall Street during the financial crisis. So he's saying, well, wait a second, when America declared war, America went to war with these other nations, after the war, they invested billions of dollars to rebuild these nations they attacked. Okay, he's saying that the urban city, the inner city, the urban areas, they need that same type of investment. Now, the tour is named after the Jobs and Justice Act of 2018. And this is a 1,300-page bill that addresses economic and social inequities and injustices. And you can go to cbc.house.gov, cbc.house.gov, and they have the information there for the Jobs and Justice Act 2018. And in this article, they also have a link to the bill, which is at congress.gov, congress.gov. cbc.house.gov is the official website of the Congressional Black Caucus, okay? Congress.gov, this looks like Bill 5785 is what it is. We'll try to post this link here. Let's see if it lets me post this here in the thread of the broadcast. All right. Okay, so yeah, this is a 1,300-page bill that was introduced by CBC Chairman Representative Cedric Richmond, all right? And this bill addresses economic and social inequities and injustices, all right? It was introduced in May of 2018 by Representative Cedric Richmond. And the bill calls for investments in public schools and infrastructure. We know the majority of African-American students go to public schools. We can talk about homeschooling. We can talk about charter schools, what have you, but the majority of African-American children still go to public schools. So this bill calls for investments in public schools and infrastructure, a federally mandated living wage, restorative justice for ex-offenders, and tax incentives for hiring young people, veterans, and the unemployed. So this bill is really, really important because when you talk about being able to hire younger people, I guess they're talking about under 18. We know some of them don't want to work there in school full time. Others want to work, but it can keep a lot of them out of trouble, put some money in their pocket, teach them. They can start out learning a particular business, a particular industry. And then also for veterans, that's extremely important because a large percentage of your homeless population are veterans, okay? And a significant portion of that are African-American veterans as well. All right, now this bill also incorporates the National Urban League's Main Street Marshall Plan from poverty to shared prosperity, Main Street Marshall Plan, from poverty to shared prosperity. And this is a comprehensive proposal that aims to combat poverty and promote equality by investing $4 trillion in infrastructure, education, job training, and health insurance over the course of 10 years, okay? So that's basically $400 billion a year, okay, over the course of 10 years. Comprehensive proposal that aims to combat poverty and promote equality by investing $4 trillion in infrastructure, education, job training, and health insurance over the course of 10 years. Now, according to Representative Cedric Richmond, the record-breaking African-American employment rate, which is a historic achievement that the Trump administration, including Donald Trump, has misleadingly taken credit for achieving, okay? We just saw, and they give absolutely no credit to President Barack Obama. We know that under President Obama, the unemployment rate for African Americans was cut by a little more than half. It was about 16.8% in March of 2010. By December 2016, it was 7.8%. Okay, it was cut. He cut it by half. Trump inherited this pretty healthy economy. There have been about 94 consecutive months of private sector job growth, but that started under President Obama. Trump gives President Obama absolutely no credit for that whatsoever. He just makes people think he just created this himself, okay, which is totally inaccurate. And we just saw Sarah Huckabee Sanders about 2 weeks ago lie about the number of jobs for African Americans that President Obama created. She lied and said it was only 195,000 in 8 years, and said Trump has done 3 times that, 700,000 in his 18 months in office. No, it was 3 million. It was 2.95 million under President Obama. She just sat up there and just told a bold-faced lie. Okay, and I watched it live when it happened. All right, and let me find there's an article about that as well. Actually, we posted one today from the Washington Post that breaks that down. I dealt with it last Sunday on my radio show. But she just stood up there and told a bold-faced lie, as she does usually when she has her White House press secretary conferences. I don't know why they keep having them, because they just stand there and tell these bold-faced lies. The Washington Post, this is written, I think, who was this? David A. Love wrote this article, or David Swartlick? Who wrote this one here? Yeah, David Swartlick, August 21st, 2018. By Trump's own standard, Obama was better for Black Americans than he was. This is dealing with the facts. This is not dealing with conspiracy theories. Okay, this is understanding the facts and the evidence. We'll post the link to this article here on the thread of the broadcast. Also, this is from Washington Post, August 21st, 2018. Okay, so we can deal with some accurate information. Sorry, but the president has not done more for Black Americans than his predecessor, even by his preferred metrics, okay? And that lays out the information, that lays out the data that you can research yourself. All right, proper documentation ends all conversation. Okay, so this is and we posted it on our fan page, the African History Network also. All right, post the name of your African-American owned business here on the thread of the broadcast also. And email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. You can advertise with African History Network on the audio podcast of our radio show. We reach thousands of people on a weekly basis. We're on 6 different podcast platforms that I know of, including iTunes, Acast, Castbox, FM Player, TuneIn.com, and Blog Talk Radio. You put your 60-second commercial into our podcast. You can reach thousands of people across the country. We have a special promotion for a few days left. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. Okay. And we can get you started today, because I do the radio show Sundays, Sunday nights, and we take the podcast of that, put your commercial into that. And there's some other broadcasts I do throughout the week as well. We do that also. Okay. All right. So let's continue here. So this is coming to Philadelphia. This tour is coming to Philadelphia September 7th. So look out for it. Okay. And it's a multi-city tour. All right. So according to Representative Cedric Richmond, the record-breaking African-American employment rate that Trump likes to brag about should not be used as a measure of success for the African-American community. Rather, he called for attention to systemic ills that have caused the African-American unemployment rate to remain double the rate of whites, and have stalled the progression of African-Americans who still lag behind whites in wealth, income, and home ownership, and across all educational levels. All right. So Cedric Richmond said, quote, "Some folks would have you believe that our community is doing well because African-American unemployment is at a historic low, which is the result of policies and programs implemented by the Obama administration." Now, it's only been tracked by rate. The unemployment rate has only been tracked by race since 1972. All right. It's only been tracked by race since 1972. And I think in the article from David Swartlick, they talk about that. All right. Okay, let's continue here. Okay, so he said, but the African-American unemployment rate is not a good barometer of our community's success. When African-Americans were slaves and sharecroppers, the African-American unemployment rate was 0%. But I don't think anyone would say that our community was doing well then. As a result of racism and discrimination in our country, African-Americans still face a number of economic and social barriers that the federal government can and should help our community. The federal government should help our community address, since it was and still is complicit in building them. Okay, although we have come a long way, we still have a long way to go. All right, now the next stop on the Jobs and Justice Tour is Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, September 7th. Other dates will be announced in the coming weeks. All right, and News1.com had an article about this as well. Congressional Black Caucus and the National Urban League launched Jobs and Justice Tour. And this is from August 25th. It looks like, from August 25th. The article from blackenterprise.com is from August 23rd, 2018, written by Selena Hill. It's called Black Leaders Unite to Bring Jobs and Justice to Black America. And I was on the CBC's Twitter page early this morning. They tweeted, their Twitter page is @officialCBC, but they tweeted, the first stop was in Detroit. The second stop will be in Philadelphia. More stops will be announced soon. CBC and National Urban League hope folks walk away from the town halls ready to use their voice and vote to affect change in the country. All right. We know midterm elections are coming up. Okay. We just, November 6, 2018, we just saw how in Randolph County in Georgia, and this is something I'm going to talk about tonight on my radio show. We just saw how in Randolph County in Georgia, they were trying to, the elections board there was trying to close 7 out of 9 polling places in Randolph County, and Randolph County is more than 55% African American. Okay. Now, you had activists that rose up and they were able to stop this measure just a few days ago, but this is serious. Georgia is where Stacey Abrams is running for governor. Stacey Abrams could be the first African American female governor in the history of this country. We see the demographics of Georgia has changed also. Georgia is about 40% non-white. Okay, we have seen the demographics changing. And this initiative right here, and see, in this election, this gubernatorial election for Georgia, every vote counts. Every vote matters. And you have Republicans that know this, so they're trying to engage in voter suppression, all right? So some activists were suspicious of the board's motives, noting that Randolph County is more than 55% African American and many residents have low incomes. And the county, which covers 431 square miles, has no public transportation system either. They wanted to close 7 out of 9 polling places, and they said they would, and they said it was the 2-member county election board. Okay. And they were citing problems including facilities in disrepair or inaccessible to people with disabilities. Okay, so they scheduled a vote for Friday. The 2-member county election board scheduled a vote for Friday. What happened was that there was a consultant for Randolph County who proposed to close 2/3 of the polling places. Washington Post reported August 23rd, officials in Randolph County, Georgia, have fired the consultant whose proposal to close 2/3 of the polling places in this majority Black county was blasted by voting rights activists. But see, what's interesting is they only fired this person after there was so much backlash, after the articles were written, after there was backlash from voting rights activists. Then they fired this person. Now, the move comes ahead of a scheduled Friday vote, Friday, August 24th, to plan on the Friday, August 25th. No, August 24th. On the plan to close 7 of 9 polling places, requiring some residents in the rural county to travel up to 10 miles to vote at their new precincts. So the question we should ask ourselves is that, well, wait a second, if your vote doesn't matter, your vote doesn't count, then why are Republicans working so hard to suppress the African American vote? Once again, we still haven't figured out how important our vote is and how it scares people, how it scares certain people when you have African Americans organizing to vote, and they're scared of Stacey Abrams becoming governor in Georgia. Okay, remember, Georgia was one of those Confederate states also. Just keep that in mind. All right. Okay. Post the name of your African American owned business here on the thread of the broadcast. How's everybody doing? We have Carl, we have Kim. Who else is here? Wake up, rise up, vote, vote, vote. Kim Robinson said. We've got Todd. So this is what the CBC is doing with the National Urban League. I haven't heard a whole lot about this. Okay. But this is something important for us to know about. Pay attention to this when this comes to your city, okay? Go to cbc.house.gov to get more information. cbc.house.gov. All Eyes Security LLC. Linnell, okay? And to advertise with the African History Network, hey, email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We put your 30-second and 60-second commercial radio commercial into the audio podcast of our radio shows. I do the show Sunday night, and we do a live Sunday night, and we add your commercial to the audio podcast. We're on 6 different podcast platforms: Blog Talk Radio, iTunes, TuneIn.com, Castbox, FM Player, Acast. I've been hosting the African History Network show for 8 years now. And on Blog Talk, between 1 to 2 weeks, we get between 4,000 and 8,000 listens per show on average in 1 to 2 weeks. Okay. And we can record a commercial for you if you don't have one. You can write out a script, you can record the commercial yourself, or we can record one for you. Okay, no additional charge. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com for more information, all right? Because a lot of times African-American-owned businesses have a hard time trying to find new customers, hard time dealing with marketing, advertising, so we have low-cost solutions for that, all right? We reach people all across the country. We can also put your flyer or something like that for your business in our email newsletter that goes out 3 to 4 times a week. We have one going out this evening to promote tonight's radio show, okay? So I have a special promotion: buy 1 month, get 1 month free. Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We can get your ad up and running today or tomorrow, all right? And what other businesses do we have here? So if you are you have an African-American bookstore, okay? Or you sell books online or something like that. If you are an author, you sell African garb, or you sell clothing, you have a brick and mortar store, you have an e-commerce store, you want to advertise with the African History Network, okay? If you have upcoming events that you want to promote, you may have some type of African festival, African American festival, Caribbean festival, what have you, a huge Kwanzaa event. You may be bringing in a speaker like a Professor James Small. He was just at the Charles H. Wright Museum of African American History Saturday, August 25th, for a screening of the documentary 1804, The Hidden History of Haiti. So I was there with Professor Small and our sister Ezili Danto, who's in the film also. So you may have a speaker coming in, you want to promote that, all right? Email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com. We have Amos, Samuel, Keotris, Felicia. There's a few of the people watching, okay? What other businesses do we have here? Also, you can register for the online courses that I teach dealing with our history, all different topics. They're all on demand. You can watch from around the world, okay? And we have it's right on the homepage of AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We also posted the link here. And we have a 10-course online bundle pack. So it's regularly $130, on sale $60. You get 10 of my online courses. It includes Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. Ancient Kemet, the Moors, and the Ma'afa, understanding the transatlantic slave trade, what they didn't teach you in school. That's a 14-hour, 7-session online course that I teach. We deal with thousands of years of history. It also includes African-American resistance in the era of Donald Trump, voter suppression, reparations, and how elections have consequences. Great African women in history, the mothers of civilization. It includes a online class I did dealing with the film Black Panther back on March 31st, 2018. So it's a lot there. You can watch them over and over again, watch them around the world. They're all on demand. Watch at your own pace, okay? That's at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com, AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. We also just posted the link there on the thread of the broadcast also, okay? All right. Oh, yeah, hey, Martisha, how you doing? All right, Martisha, let's see, Martisha Patterson. Patterson Plan. She's a certified financial planner. You hear her commercials in the podcast of our shows, right? So you'll hear, we'll upload Sunday show. We'll upload that Monday, so you'll hear her commercials also. Now you can listen to the podcast of our shows at AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. You can listen to the podcast of our shows there. AfricanHistoryNetwork.com. And okay, is your website? Post your website, Martisha. Patterson Plans. Yeah, post your website. And she can handle, you can handle people across the country, right, Martisha? Okay, I'll wait for her to post that. So on tonight's show, there's a lot to talk about. Deciding what to leave in the show, what to take out, because I only have a 2-hour show. So we have a lot to talk about tonight. Oh, you don't want to miss tonight's show. First of all, this was probably Donald Trump's worst week as president. Oh, Paul Manafort was convicted on 8 counts. We saw Michael Cohen, his fixer attorney, pled guilty to 8 counts. It looks like Michael Cohen is going to flip and become a witness. Cohen has tapes. Omarosa has tapes. You see Michael Avenatti, Stormy Daniels' attorney, on the news talking about how this is going to lead to the end of Trump's presidency. Let's keep our fingers crossed. Trump is going to be forced to resign from office. I already said that. Trump is going to be forced to resign from office. This week was horrible. David Pecker, who heads up the National Enquirer, we found out about a vault of evidence he has of buried stories, catch and kill. They pay people for the story, then don't publish it. And what's in this vault could very well open Trump up to be being blackmailed as well. Oh, this was a horrible week for Donald Trump, okay? But we'll talk some about that, but I really want to deal with this national prison strike that started August 21st. And this has not been getting a lot of coverage. Okay. Website, Patterson Plan 17 hyphen wixsite.com, WIXSITE. Okay. Patterson Plans 17 hyphen wixsite.com. And Martisha said, yes, I am working with people anywhere in the US. Okay, good. So August 21st to September 9th, you have this nationwide prison strike. It's in at least 17 states. Now, there was a prison strike 2 years ago that I talked about on our radio shows and here on Facebook and on our radio shows on 9, 10 a.m. the Superstation, okay? This is a new one now. August 21st. So first of all, this is Black August, right? And Black August really commemorates deals with the Soul Dad brothers and the what led to the arrest of Angela Davis and George Jackson, who was a member of the Black Panther Party for self-defense, who was in prison. So you have that whole occurrence there. But also Black August is a time for African Americans to reflect and celebrate the Black Power movement also. But August 21st is the anniversary of the Nat Turner Rebellion of 1831, the start of the Nat Turner Rebellion of 1831. We know August 22nd, going into August 23rd, was the beginning of the Haitian Revolution of 1791. Okay, and we know that August 23rd is the day for the international remembrance of the slave trade and its abolition. That was created August 23rd, 1998 by the United Nations, surrounding the beginning of the Haitian Revolution, okay? And then this strike ends September 9th. Well, September 9th was the beginning of the Attica uprising in Attica prison in New York in 1971. There was a movie that was made about it with Gene Hackman and Jim Brown about Attica. And then also September 9th, now they may not know this, the people organizing this strike, but September 9th is also the anniversary of the Stonewall Rebellion in South Carolina in 1639, which was one of the first slave rebellions in this country. Okay, this is even before it was the United States. You still have colonies. Okay, so and they are protesting. They want an end to slave labor and slave wages. They're protesting for better conditions. There's a number of things that they want. Okay, so this is taking place right now. It's not getting a lot of media attention. Now, this morning on Politics Nation, Reverend Al Sharpton dealt with this topic. Okay, I haven't seen it dealt with on other shows on MSNBC. I know there's been a lot of coverage of Senator John McCain because he passed away yesterday. So there's been a huge amount of coverage surrounding that. And the shooting that took place at the Madden tournament in Florida today, crazy. A lot of coverage around that. But I haven't seen, outside of Reverend Al Sharpton's show, I haven't seen anybody cover it. I don't think Joanne Reed covered it. Even though she covers a lot, you know, I don't think she covered. I watched the show today and yesterday, and I know yesterday and the day she covered Senator John McCain a lot. So maybe, hopefully next week she'll cover it. And then also we see Donald Trump wading into the expropriation without compensation proposal in South Africa, dealing with taking land back from white South African farmers, descendants of invaders and colonizers who killed our ancestors to steal the land in the first place, and they ain't paying anything for the land when they stole it. Okay, we see, and Donald Trump wades into this conversation on Twitter and spreads lies about widespread killings of white South African farmers. Okay, and there was a lot discussed. There was a lot of discussion and a lot of coverage of this past week. Paris Denard, one of Donald Trump's favorite African-American sycophants, and I don't even want to refer to him as African. He's more like black. One of Donald Trump's lackeys and sycophants who love to defend Donald Trump. He's been exposed as being fired from his previous job for sexual harassment, sexually harassing women. This was a shock to some people. And he's been suspended by CNN. Good job. CNN finally did something right. Good. I don't know why the hell you had him on there in the first place, to tell you the truth. So a lot of people were happy this week from that. Oh, a lot of people were laughing. I know Angela Rye was probably laughing, and April Ryan was probably laughing as well. Maybe they'll bring them over to Fox News, because they have a lot of people over there accused of sexual harassment over at Fox News, right? Roger Ailes, who was the founder, Bill O'Reilly, you know, and then Bill Shine, who's the White House communications director now for Trump. You know, it looks like he couldn't find a respectable job somewhere else, and he was accused of mishandling sexual harassment allegations and things like this at Fox News. He's now the White House communications director. So, you know, and it is interesting that he was fired for sexual harassment, Paris Denard, and he loves defending Donald Trump, who's accused by at least 19 women of sexual harassment. Isn't that interesting? Vultures of a feather flock together. So we're going to talk about that tonight and some other things on the African History Network show. We see that in Georgia, they wanted to close 2/3 of the polling places in Randolph County. That is more than 55% African American, and activists rose up against that. We'll talk about that story. And then also, what else? I'm going to try to get to this story here. I haven't heard a lot about it. AtlantaBlackStar.com had an article about this. Betsy DeVos, her elimination of an Obama President Obama rule or policy allowing, which will allow for-profit colleges to swindle poor African American students. And what Betsy DeVos has been doing at the Department of Education is horrific. People have not really been paying attention to this. I deal with it, we post articles here. I deal with it some on my show. I'm only on 2 hours a week. I do other Facebook Live broadcasts outside of the radio show, but I've been traveling, and I was doing 2 lectures and 1 panel discussion last weekend at the African World Festival. This past Tuesday, I was on a panel discussion dealing with the rise of racism on college campuses at the National Association of Black Financial Planners or Stockbrokers or something, organized here in Detroit. So 2 weekends ago, I was speaking in San Diego, and I'm getting ready for the All Black National Convention in Philadelphia, September 26th through the 30th, the one that Dr. Boyce Watkins does. So I'll be there once again this year. I'll be on the panel discussion dealing with why we must buy black. I'll be a vendor also. I need to book my hotel too. Now that I think about it, I need to book my hotel tomorrow. So it's been busy. It's been hectic. All right. But what Betsy DeVos is doing at the Secretary of Education, at the Department of Education, is horrific. And she's putting these policies into place, reversing policies President Obama had in place to hold these for-profit colleges accountable. And it was President Obama who shut down a lot of these for-profit colleges, including ITT Tech. That's why you don't see any more commercials from ITT Tech, because what a lot of these for-profit colleges would do is that they would disproportionately target African Americans and Hispanics. And they would get them to take out these exorbitant student loans, okay? And then you're saddled with this debt. And they had a poor record, many of them, in placing people into jobs that had anything to do with their degree. So now you don't have a job and you're saddled with all this debt. You end up defaulting on the loan, things like this. So President Obama was put measures in place to really hold them accountable. And some of these colleges he closed, he shut down. Okay. And now keep in mind that it was Donald Trump who nominated Betsy DeVos, who had absolutely no experience running a school, running the Department of Education. The only background she had really in education was destroying public schools and pushing and promoting for-profit charter schools in the state of Michigan. Her and her husband, Dick DeVos, they have a long history in the state of Michigan. We've been fighting against them for years. This is why and the only reason why she got that job was because her and her husband had donated, they donated a lot of money to Trump's campaign. And she fulfills Trump's agenda of destroying public education. Okay. So this is what's taking place. So we're going to talk about that. We'll talk about that tonight. This is an example of how elections have consequences. Now remember, it was Trump who nominated Betsy DeVos. Then she was confirmed by the U.S. Senate in a vote of 51-50. Okay, because the deciding vote was a tie. So the deciding vote was Vice President Mike Pence. So the people that told you don't vote, they ain't tell you that if there's a tie in the U.S. Senate, it's the vice president that gets the deciding vote. The people that told you don't vote didn't tell you none of that. They didn't say, well, wait a second, and that Secretary of Education is going to reverse all these policies that President Obama had in place. Many of this were beneficial to African Americans, but they ain't talk about none of that. And keep in mind, it was Donald Trump who had a for-profit fake university called Trump University. And he ended up being sued by the Attorney General of the state of New York. He ended up having to pay $25 million. He had to pay a $24 million settlement and a $1 million fine. Right? Remember all that? That was a fake university, for-profit fake university that Trump had. And here you have his Secretary of Miseducation putting policies in place that are favorable to these for-profit colleges, reversing these policies that President Obama had in place to hold them accountable. Very interesting. And these are the people who asked you, what the hell do you have to lose? Interesting. All right, so email us at customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com, customerservice@africanhistorynetwork.com to find out more information about advertising with the African History Network. And we have a special promotion for a few more days. Buy 1 month, get 1 month free. We have a few more slots left. And we can get your commercial running on Monday, because we'll get the podcast of Sunday show. We'll get that up Monday. Martisha said, are people still about to have these loans forgiven if the dollars were used for tuition for one of these colleges? Well, see, the thing is, some of those policies, Betsy DeVos has been reversed. And now there was one policy that was supposed to go into place July 2017. Betsy DeVos tried to delay it. She was sued. I think it was by attorney generals from different states. So I think she had to enforce that. But some of those things, because see, there was loan forgiveness that President Obama put in place. There's a backlog when you deal with the applications. There's a lot of things that Betsy DeVos has done to destroy the Department of Education and to reverse these policies President Obama put in place. Okay, AtlantaBlackStar.com has some good articles dealing with it. AtlantaBlackStar.com, that's one of the best ones. News1.com has some also. You could probably find some at the Washington Post, but AtlantaBlackStar.com targets the African American community. So these are things you really, really need to pay attention to. All right. Okay, look, we gotta get out of here. I gotta get ready for tonight's show. Hey, remember at the African History Network, we focus on educating, empowering, and empowering. At the African History Network, we focus on educating, inspiring, and empowering people of African descent throughout the diaspora and around the world. Because right now it corrects wrong behavior. What you do for yourself, what you do to yourself, and what you allow other people to do to you and get away with is based upon what you think about yourself. Right now, it corrects wrong behavior. It's not over till we win. We'll talk to you next time. Peace. And Wakanda forever.